One unique method for purchasing real property is known as a contract for deed, which allows a buyer to purchase a property directly from the seller. The buyer will make their payments directly to the seller or to a collection service. At first glance, this might be seen as good for both the buyer and seller. After all, no fees are paid to a lender. But as you'll see, there can be drawbacks as well. For buyers, a contract for deed can be enticing. Some sellers may require little to no down payment, and like I said, the transaction costs are lower. There's also the possibility of improving a low credit score while providing a path to home ownership. But there are disadvantages to buyers as well, including higher interest rates than with conventional financing. Contracts for deed offer none of the consumer protections found under foreclosure laws in our state. If a buyer misses a payment, the seller can repossess the property without judicial action. There's also the fact that most of these transactions are relatively short-term, usually 3 to 5 years, with a balloon payment due at the end of the term, which must be paid in full or the seller has the right to cancel the contract, take possession of the property, and keep any payments made and any equity that may have accrued. Another thing to remember is that the seller retains the title to the property. This is why buyers are urged to record the contract with the county recorder as soon as possible. For sellers, there are advantages and pitfalls as well. One of the biggest advantages is the much larger number of potential buyers. By offering interest rates and credit terms that conventional lenders are unwilling to offer, a seller can cater to buyers that otherwise couldn't obtain a mortgage. There's also the advantage of possibly creating a steady income stream at a higher return than other investments. And in the case of default, the law allows for the cancellation of the contract without public auction or foreclosure. On the flip side, though, there can be serious problems for a seller as well. Sellers may mistakenly assume that when the property is being sold under a contract for deed and the buyer fails to make a payment, that they can simply repossess the property. This isn't true. There are still a number of formal steps that must be taken to reacquire the property. There's also the fact that during the term of the contract, the seller may have to be their own property manager. This might include tracking and recording all payments and verifying that property taxes and insurance are up to date. As you can see, there are specific situations where a contract for deed might be a viable alternative to more traditional real estate financing. In the end, though, both the buyer and seller must clearly understand the advantages and limitations.